To Wake Up America, I'm Rob Finnerty. Let's get right back to the Powerhouse panel. We're having a great conversation. If you're just tuning in right now, we're having a very lively discussion. Finally, some life on a Monday morning with this packed Powerhouse panel. I get it, guys. I slept terribly last night. Mark called me out at 6:35. He's like, the energy's kind of low. I was like, Mark, we're doing the best we can here. Mark, you had some comments. I know you had a commercial break to think about it, but the people of America want to know. You think that if you don't get a vaccine, you should be fired from your job?
No, I think employers should make their own decisions. And I think people on this panel who don't think employers should mandate vaccines, not a government mandate, should answer the question. Do you want to go back to the government, the economy being shut down? Do you want everyone to have to wear masks? Because people aren't getting vaccinated. We've got a stubborn group of folks from across the political spectrum, demographic, geographic, who will not get vaccinated. We've got to send a signal to them that they must do it. So we don't have to shut down the economy, so we don't have to wear masks. It's pretty simple. You have another idea for getting people vaccinated, bring it on. But otherwise, we got to do something. And I think employers have the right to say, in our workplace, this is going to be mandated. And I would like nursing homes and hospitals to start that.
Mercedes?
Well, I mean, I think we have to talk about the rights of the American people. I think the American people feel that they have the right to make that personal decision whether they need 100%. To get vaccinated or not. Totally. And part of the job of the government and the employers are to make sure they're getting the education and the information they need to make the best decision for their family. So my question to you, Mark, so would you allow for medical exemptions and religious exemptions so that these people don't get fired? I mean, this is an extreme 100%. Tactic to say employers, like they're doing with the NFL and the Minnesota assistant coach, that they fired because he wouldn't get vaccinated.
Right.
That's just, I think that just goes way too far. And in essence, you are saying let the employers push for a vaccine mandate.
Mark, response?
The private sector businesses should be allowed to do what they want. I believe in the private sector. I believe in keeping the government, the economy open. There shouldn't be a government mandate. There should be lots of exceptions. Employers should be extremely generous in talking to individuals who are resistant. Ask them why. Try to give them the best information. But if we don't start setting an example, we're going to have the economy shut back down.
Don't you think,
people are going to be wearing masks. I just don't want to do that, and I don't see another solution. Sorry,
but Mark, don't you think it's part of the fact is that the government has failed us time and time again while they're shifting their messages back and forth on the vaccine and on what works and what doesn't work?
I do. I totally agree with you, and I wish that hadn't happened, and I wish more people were getting vaccinated. But just because the government failed. So do you understand why the Americans are hesitant? Do you understand why they're hesitant? I've talked to a lot of hesitant people, and I hear all sorts of reasons, and I think they shouldn't just be told by their employer or by the government, you must get a vaccine. They should be provided with the information about why it's the right thing to do, why people who worked for President Trump and people who work for President Biden, why almost every public health expert I know say it's super important that people get the vaccine, with the exceptions you cited. But if more people don't get it, and right now we're not on a track for more people getting it, we're going to have to go back down to things that hurt the economy, that hurt students, that require people to wear masks. I just don't want that. I think it's a small price to pay to say the private sector can make this choice, not in a coercive way, not with a government mandate. And again, if people have other ideas about how to fix this, I'm all ears, but I don't see it.
We should say that some companies, and we've brought this up, several of the big banks, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, are among that group that are requiring employees to get vaccines. They do have the exemptions in place, Mercedes. Kelly, I can tell that you've got some thoughts.
Well, I mean, I don't agree with Mark's standpoint that if we don't mandate these vaccines, then the government's going to close down again and people are going to put masks back on again and the economy is going to be locked down. I think we're past that as a nation. And many states like Florida, where you have Ron DeSantis saying that he's never going to put another mandate in place again or lock down anyone else again. So this is a very political manner. And I just don't see red states governors embracing these things no matter what the vaccination rates are.
Then we got to look at these vaccination rates. And Rob brought up a good point, and I spoke about it earlier, is there are people who have already contracted COVID and have this natural immunity. This natural immunity is more efficacious than actually getting a shot that was developed by man. So these people should have an exemption. I mean, it makes more scientific sense for them not to get a shot in the arm. And then there's medical reasons and religious reasons why they don't want to or shouldn't have to get this shot, and that should totally be up to them. But the main point here is people who have been vaccinated are immune from catching this. The vaccinations
are incredibly effective at preventing hospitalizations and death. And there's going to have to become a moment in time as we as a society have to learn to live with COVID-19.
Let me play you a soundbite.
I got to say, Rob, I'm sorry. I got to say, I'm not for a government mandate. I'm not for a federal mandate or a governor's mandate. I don't think there should be any mandates. I think there should be exceptions in every case where that's warranted. So please don't mischaracterize what I'm saying. I just see what's happening right now. And there, as Rob said, there are lots of businesses that are mandating that people get vaccines. I would guess there are people on this panel who are associated with organizations who are mandating. They're requiring people.
Yeah,
to get
I think, Mark. So I think we've fleshed it out. I think during our panel right before the break, you said that the coronavirus vaccine would be like a flu vaccine, and that some schools do require that. Many, the vast majority, do not require vaccines with young kids, particularly that age group where vaccines are not available, that 2 to 12 age group. But my goodness, I think about my little ones, and I'm just not. It's one of those things where people should have the ability to decide what's best for them. But Dr. Scott Gottlieb was on yesterday, and he was talking about the Delta variant because I think there's fear among Americans that are fully vaccinated that, like, all right, you're going to require us again to wear masks, even though we're fully vaccinated. And I think he said one of the most logical things I've heard him say throughout the entirety of this whole disaster. Take a listen.
Whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, if you want to add an additional measure of protection, if you're in a high prevalence environment where there's a lot of infection, a mask can still be helpful against this new variant. The physical characteristics of this virus has not changed. The reason it's more transmissible is that there's simply more of it. When people get infected, they get more virus, higher viral levels, and they exude more virus, so they're more contagious. But the characteristics of the virus haven't changed.
Chris Arps in St. Louis, where they are now requiring masks. Right there, that made so much sense to me. I made sure that we grabbed that soundbite because he said, listen, guys, it's called common sense. We all used to have it before coronavirus. If you're fully vaccinated but you're concerned, you're on the subway or you're somewhere where you have a little more concern, you can still throw on a mask. Nobody's going to say you can't, Chris.
Yeah. I think one of the main reasons why people are hesitant about about getting the vaccine is not so much because of misinformation. It's because of handy-handed tactics of people telling you that the reason why COVID is spreading is because you didn't get the vaccine. I think people are tired of that. I think people are tired of the misinformation where you wear a mask, you don't wear a mask. We all know that masks aren't very effective at all, and I don't want to be mandated to get a vaccine that I may not be comfortable with.
And I would say, by the way, talk to your doctor if you are concerned.
Hey,
that's
Rob,
the person to talk to. Yep.
Yeah, and real quick, I really believe that those of us who have done political campaigns understand that if you're able to put ads up, and not ads from political people or celebrities, just real Americans saying, I have lost a loved one because of COVID, or, my brother was in the hospital and he was 34 years old on a ventilator for months. That connects to the American people to be able to talk about the importance of getting vaccinated and, now, as opposed to waiting till we peak with the Delta variant in October. I think that's the piece that's really missing as we try to, you got to market it, you got to sell it, but you can't sell it with the politicians. It's not going to work. You can't sell it on the Sunday shows. More people are not going to get vaccinated if you do it that way. It's about really connecting with those personal stories, which I think would be huge.
I think you're onto something there, and I would not be surprised if there is, in the building right behind you there, the White House, I would not be surprised if there was a tactical shift in how they encourage people to get the vaccines, because as we can see, we've stalled, although vaccination rates were up over the last 3 days. In America. All right, panel, great stuff. Really enjoyed it. Mark Halperin, Kelly Sadler, Chris Arps, Mercedes. We'll see you in just a moment. Panelists, we'll see you throughout the week. Looking forward to that.